Value means the lightness or darkness of a color. A tint is a color mixed with white to make it lighter. Here's an example of a value scale, and today's lesson is how to make a value scale using a color and white. When you make a value scale, you need quite a bit more white and not nearly as much of the other color, because the white is going to be what you're mixing into to change the color. Okay, to start, what you do is you take just a little bit of the color that you're using and you mix it in with white. And you try to keep it right in the same spot as much as you can, because if you spread it out over the plate, not only does it waste space, but it actually makes it so that it's going to dry out faster and you won't be able to use it nearly as well. But if it stays in a clump like this, it's not going to dry out nearly as fast. Okay, I've got it pretty well mixed and I don't have any streaks in it that I can see. So this is my lightest value of red, which is actually pink. And I'm going to work down this way. And when I paint, I lean my hand on the paper as much as possible if I'm trying to do like a really straight edge, which I am here. And that helps to steady my hand, and then I don't have to worry so much about having shaky edges. And your value scale is going to look a lot better if it's nice and has nice clean edges on it. I'm trying to do it in such a way that I'm keeping my shadow out of the way so you can see it better. Okay, there's my first value, the lightest value that I'm going to have on my value scale. I'm going to add a little bit more red. You just add a little bit at a time. And I mix it in again. And I want to get this entire thing to be the same color, And this should be just a little bit darker, noticeably darker, but just a little bit darker. There we go. I don't see any streaks. Alright, so paint it right next to this one. And as you can see, it's just a little bit darker. And I didn't really want it a lot darker, so that's how I want it to look. Okay, now just a little bit more red yet, and we'll see how much of a change I get. Now another thing is, if I don't end up with a noticeable change, then I'll add more red to it, because I want there to be a change going down the value scale. And I don't want either or any of these squares to be the same. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, it is a little bit darker. Actually, in this case, I want it to show up a little bit more, so I'm going to add some more red to it. And I can paint right over the top. There's still a little bit of white in here, and I want to get all that mixed in. go. Alright. Okay, this is more of a change. I like there to be a noticeable change, and I just didn't feel like that one was noticeable enough. Okay, now a little bit more red. And again, be sure that you keep it really in the same area of your palette so that it doesn't dry out on you. And it's a lot easier to mix the whole color. Okay, now that you've seen how to do it, I'm going to speed this up quite a bit so that it doesn't take up as much time. But then you'll see the whole process and you'll know how to go about it. If you mix your color and then you start painting it and you notice that there's not as much of a difference as you want, don't be afraid to go back and remix, because you can actually paint over what's already there. Whatever you do, you just want to make sure that when you mix the color that you have it all end up being the same color and not have like some white streaks in it, because if you pick up the white streaks and you put them in on your value scale with the rest of the color, then it's not going to look right. Here I'll jump the demonstration ahead a few squares because you've probably pretty much got it by now. You start with a lot of white and a little bit of the color that you're going to make a value scale for. And the first thing you do is add just a little bit of the color to the white, and you paint your first square. And you keep adding a little bit more and a little bit more. And I'm ending up my value scale with red that hasn't been mixed with any white. So this is how you make a value scale. Now remember, the value means the lightness or darkness of a color. When you mix the color with white to make it lighter, that's called the tint. Now go ahead and choose any color you want and make your value scale.